Hello everyone, welcome to chemistry learning. In this video we are going to learn about the molecular vibrations and IR spectroscopy. So IR spectroscopy is very important tool to determine the functional group present in the organic molecules. So how it works and how the vibration takes place we are going to learn in this particular video. So before proceeding further, let us discuss what is vibrations. So vibration means when IR light enters the molecule, then there are the certain vibration takes place. So what is vibration? We will see any change in the shape of the molecule, stretching of the bonds, bending of the bonds, or internal rotation around single bonds. So there are the two types of vibration. We will discuss one by one. One is stretching vibrations and another is the bending vibrations. So stretching vibrations are again divided into two categories. One is symmetrical bending, symmetrical stretching, and another is asymmetrical stretching one. While bending vibrations are classified into four categories. One is scissoring, second one is rocking, third one is wagging, and fourth one is twisting. So we will discuss all these vibrations one by one. So what wavelength of electromagnetic radiation is involved in causing vibration in the molecule? This is very important. So we should know that is the actually infrared region is divided into three parts: middle infrared rays, far infrared red region, and near infrared region. So middle infrared region is very important to determine the functional group of the organic molecule, that is 2.5 to 15 microns. So if you convert into centimeter inverse, then it is about 4000 to 650 centimeter inverse. This region is very important because most of the functional group get vibrated in this region. So again this is the reason you can see that 4000 to 650 centimeter, or we can say 750 centimeter inverse is very important because most of the functional group get vibrated in this region. So you can see this is the region for NH-OH bonds. The NH-OH as well as CS bond get vibrated in this region, that is about 2800 to 4000 centimeter inverse. Broadly we can say that. Then this is the triple bond region, that is 2100 to 2300 centimeter inverse, where triple bond get vibrated, that is carbon-carbon triple bond, or that may be carbon-nitrogen triple bond. So this is the double bond region, that is ranges from 600 to 1800 centimeter inverse. So that may be carbon-carbon double bond, that may be carbon-nitrogen double bond, or that may be carbon-oxygen double bond. Then there is 1000 to 1200 or 1300 centimeter inverse, that is due to the carbon-carbon so carbon-carbon double bonds or carbon-oxygen double bonds or carbon-nitrogen single bonds get vibrated in that region. Not double bond, it is a single bond. Okay, so 1000 to 1200 centimeter inverse region is the single bond stretching region. So single bond means CS carbon-carbon single bond, carbon-oxygen single bond, or carbon-nitrogen single bond region. Okay, so how much movement occurs in the vibration of carbon-carbon double bond? We will see that. So stretching vibration, if you consider that the bond length is about 154 picometer at the initial stage before vibration, and if there is a stretching vibration, then the strength of that bond get vibrated. The length of that bond get vibrated by means of 10 picometer. So you can see that. So if there is a bending vibration, you can see the bending means there is a change in the bond angle, and if there is a change in the bond angle, how much bond angle get changes. So you can see that if you are considering the 4 degree bond angle is there, then the change will occur up to 10 nanometer. Okay, 10 degree. So we'll see the vibrations. So symmetrical stretchings, asymmetrical stretchings, symmetrical stretchings, as well as asymmetrical stretching. Before that, I would like to tell you one thing. So stretching vibrations generally requires higher energy, while bending vibration generally requires lower energy one. So there are the two types of stretching vibrations, as I already told you. So symmetric stretching means when both bonds get elongated or both bonds get compressed, then that is known as the symmetric stretching. While asymmetric stretching means if the both bonds get one bond get compressed while another get elongated, that is known as the asymmetric stretching one. So bending vibrations. I told you earlier there are the four types of bending vibrations. First one is in plane vibration. We'll see the in plane and out of plane. So in plane there is scissoring as well as rocking. These are the two in plane vibrations. When you can see that the arrows clearly shows. So this is simple, you can see in plane vibrations. Then next vibrations, these are the out of plane vibrations. We'll discuss these vibrations by observing the animations. So we will see in this slide particularly. This is the symmetrical stretching one, so both bond get elongated, that's what is the symmetrical. Here one bond get elongated while another get compressed, that is the asymmetrical. So these are the symmetrical as well as asymmetrical stretching one, which generally occurs at higher frequency. Then this is the bending vibration, this is the scissor, just like a scissor one, both bonds are approaching towards itself. Then just remember one thing, this is occurring in one plane, as well as this rocking is also occurring in one plane. So in plane vibration we can say that. So this is the rocking one, where both bonds either get shifted on one side, either are on other side. So that is the rocking. But remember one thing, the bond angle will remain, bond angle will change, and will occur in one plane. So this is the wagging and this is the twisting one. So in wagging, one bond, both bond get either come out of the plane, or so we can say it is the wagging one. In another you can see that while one bond get come out of the plane while another get inside, so that is nothing but twisting one. So these two vibrations, wagging and we can say that twistings, are out of plane vibrations one. So we'll see one by one. So vibrational frequency is directly proportional to strength of bond. It is totally dependent on the Hooke's law, and inversely proportional to a reduced mass. So more is the strength of the bond, more will the vibrational frequency required. It's very simple one. I'm not going to elaborate this. It's a simple concept. You just memorize that Hooke's law, so that will give the clear idea how it is, how vibrational frequency is directly proportional to strength of bond, and how it is inversely proportional to a reduced mass. Okay. So this is the Hooke's law. This is the equation. By using this equation, we can calculate the vibrational frequency one. Okay. Reduced mass is required, and force constant means strength of bond is also very important. So as I told you earlier, vibrational frequency is directly proportional to strength of bond, while it is inversely proportional to a reduced mass. Okay. So we'll see the one by one example. You can see that the bond strength of carbon-carbon single bond is 350, carbon-carbon double bond is having 600, while carbon-carbon triple bond is having 840. Okay, that is in kilojoule in mole, but bond order is 1, 2, 3. Now let us see the vibrational frequency. So in case of single bond, the strength is less. Here is that in case of carbon-carbon double bond, the strength is high because this is double bonds. So that's why the more vibrational frequency is required. And in case of carbon-carbon triple bond, again you can see the strength get increases, so more vibrational frequency will required. That is about 2200 centimeter inverse. Okay, so same will be for the reduced mass. Okay, I am not going to discuss these things. This is obviously you can calculate the bond order is very important. So which molecule required less vibrational frequency and which will require more vibrational frequency, you can easily calculate. It's a very simple: carbon monoxide, carbon CO plus and CO negative. So obviously you have to calculate the bond order first, and if any place is having more bond order, definitely that will have that will require more vibrational frequency to stretch their bonds. Okay, so reduced mass, it's simple. Vibrational frequency is inversely proportional to a reduced mass. If the mass is less, more vibrational frequency will required. That's simple concept. You can see that by this example it is very clear. Okay, so again the there is a change in vibration state, so strength will get change. Okay, so more and more is character. In that case, the strength of bond get increases and more vibrational frequency will required. So as in case of this molecule, you can clearly see that. Okay, sp required more vibrational frequency because there is more s character, so strength of bond is greater. Okay, as compared to sp2 as well as sp3 carbonate. Then this is structural units, so simple, the same we will discuss earlier. More the strength, more will the vibrational frequencies are required. So these are the some vibrational frequency of very important functional groups: aldehyde ketones, carboxylic acids, acid anhydride, esters, amides. Okay, so this is the stretching vibration of carbonyl groups we go. Okay, so in case of aldehyde ketones and all these molecules, different vibrational frequencies are required for that carbonyl group. Okay, so this is the unit 1 and structural unit. I am not going to discuss these things. This is very simple. You can easily understand. This is the broad chart. You can clearly see this very important result: 4000 to 600 centimeter inverse one. Now this is the actual IR spectra. So you can easily identify which functional group is there. It is the IR spectra of an hexane molecule. This is the IR spectra. From that IR spectra, it is another IR spectra. You can see that we are getting the one peak at 650 centimeter inverse and one at 3100 centimeter inverse. So it will be one hexane. So you have to do the complete study of IR spectra, and then you can easily identify which molecule will be